We opened with Elton John October 13th of 2007. We pulled Garth Brooks out of retirement, and he did 9 shows in November of 07. Wow. It was great. It was, again, didn't know what I was getting into, but I was sitting in the box office while they're talking through, how many shows, and as they're selling tickets. It was 9 shows within a few hours. It was amazing. It was never seen anything like it before. I'm sure I never will again, but.
Hello and welcome to the Daktronics Experience Podcast. We're here today at T-Mobile Center. I'm here with Matt Anderson, and today our guest is Brian Doyle. Brian, how you doing?
Great.
This is a beautiful area that we're in down here right away, so we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. Can you maybe give our listeners and watchers a little bit of a background of what is your role here at T-Mobile Center and how did you get here?
Yeah, my role is Director of Facilities Presentation. I've been here since really before we opened in 2007. So I pretty much oversee all venue technology, as well as a lot of the content creation through the facility, whether it's event-related content or promotional content. Really kind of run the gamut and have our feet in both creative and technical for the facility.
Nice. And maybe how did you get to this role? Were you always kind of wanting to be on the technical side of things?
No. Really, if you go back to high school, I was, with the high school video course. As part of the course, we went to Kansas State University, which is 90 minutes west of here. Toured a facility there, and really loved that facility. And that's why I ended up going to school there. It was a full broadcast facility. I'll say excelled. I don't like to say it, but I kind of excelled and became a leader student, I guess. Was producing and directing shows, directing by the time I left, I came on staff full time there, and as a student and staff was directing like the football productions, game day football productions, and basketball productions for Kansas State. And then to get here was a reference from somebody we'd worked with who'd produced the opens for football and basketball. I had no idea what I was getting into. I sat down for the interview. What would become boss, sat down what equipment was coming in here, renderings of the video board, and I'm sure my 28-year-old eyes got huge and like, oh, this is awesome. I'd love to do this. Yeah. And I had the technical background. I kind of became the technical director, technical producer on a lot of those live events. I saw that. I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I thought it was going to be video production. It turned into be a whole lot more, as I'm sure it is at all arenas. But yeah, I did not know what I was getting into. I had no desire to be a arena person. But I'm here nearly 17 years later, so must not be that bad, I guess.
Right.
You're doing something right?
Yeah, different times of the year I might question my decisions. But I obviously enjoy it. It's a great facility. It's a great team we have here. It's a great company I work for. It hasn't run me off yet, and they haven't run me off yet either. So
yeah, sounds like you keep pretty busy. So can you give us a history of maybe the venue itself and kind of what events you host that keep you so busy?
Yeah. So Kansas City. I came right before we opened. I came in August of 07. They opened in October of 07. Mm-hmm. So I had no say in anything going in here, which was probably good because didn't know what I was doing. So they really designed this facility to be able to host a professional NBA and NHL team. If you get an opportunity to go through the facility, you'll see it. They did a great job. It's like a conglomerate of local architects who designed the facility and did a great job. We could probably host an NBA NHL team today if we needed to. Mm-hmm. Oh. So they did a great job doing that. But again, built in 07 to try and, as part of it, I believe they were, wanting to hit those specs to be able to do that. But since then, we've basically become a hub of concert, family shows. We opened with Elton John October 13th of 2007. We pulled Garth Brooks out of retirement, and he did 9 shows in November of 07. Wow. It was great. It was, again, didn't know what I was getting into, but I was sitting in the box office while they're talking through, how many shows, and as they're selling tickets. It was 9 shows within a few hours. It was amazing. It was never seen anything like it before. I'm sure I never will again. But that was November. We've been a venue that's done 100 events more or less a year. Obviously, take out those COVID years. But yeah, we're doing concerts, family shows, monster trucks. We've hosted the Big 12 men's basketball championship since 2008, with the exception of 1 year. Last year we hosted men's and women's Big 12 basketball championships with 14 teams, so 26 games over a week and a half. We host NCAA events. This last year we did NCAA wrestling championships. We've done NCAA volleyball championships, U.S. figure skating championships.
Wow.
It's a busy facility.
Yeah,
despite not having to-
multi-use, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's I'm talking about this earlier. Like I said, we don't have a team, but I think that's a benefit to us. We're open, right? So our team does a great job of going out and getting those events to come in here. And like I said, it's Kansas City supports us. Part of the reason why I still have a job is obviously because people buy tickets and want to come to those shows. So it's a great facility.
I'm thinking you came in, right, saying from doing events in college and then coming here and now even listing out all the different types of events you just did. Yeah. What was it like when you first started then, right? Because you're saying you weren't involved really in the decision of what was here, but you came in and they're like, all right, this is what you have now. Like, what was it like, that initial learning process of how to get everything organized?
Oh, it was a nightmare. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I could do the video side, but quite honestly, 90% of what I do is not the video side, production. The first event, my boss outright told me, I don't know what you're getting into after I got hired. I don't know exactly what we're doing here. We're going to figure it out together. One of the things I'm responsible for, our department's responsible for, is lighting throughout the facility, right? Just on and off, whatever. I had no idea what we were doing there. One of my best memories is the opening night, Elton John. Watching those lights actually go out for a concert, right? We had concert blackout, lights go out. Crowd just going crazy. I mean, it was the first time I've experienced that. Yeah. It was cool. I mean, it still sticks with me. I've got a terrible memory, and that one still sticks with me. So
core memory.
Right. Yeah. It's sunk in. So it's been kind of learning everything, right? Learning cable TV systems, learning more about audio systems, learning, I don't know, what else did we do? Obviously LED boards. I mean, I had a brief understanding of them when at K-State. They had purchased Daktronics boards for their football facility. But again, I was handling the production side. I wasn't necessarily handling the Daktronics side. So I had a little bit of understanding of it. I've been fortunate enough to get some on-site training. I went to actually Brookings before we opened and got some training up there.
Okay.
It's just been much different than what I anticipated. So it's been a lot of. I still continue to learn every day. We've had. I've been fortunate enough to have IT switch be underneath me. So now I'm learning a lot more about IT, more than I ever thought I would. So.
Yeah, it sounds like a whirlwind and kind of well-rounded wealth of knowledge there. I mean, no day is the same, right?
Right. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. It's every event. I mean, every event's pretty different. I mean, with the reason, right? Concerts are easier for me. Like, they come in and do a lot of their own stuff, right? They come from our venue to another. They handle a lot of that themselves. But yeah, each event's different. Requests become different. It's when we get to sporting events, obviously that's where we ramp up a lot. We use our equipment a lot more. We use the screens a lot more. It gets a lot more challenging, especially as we head towards March, like we're talking about for Big 12. That's kind of our marquee event, and our most where we get involved more than any other time of the year.
Yeah, we mentioned screens a little bit there. We'll just go with a quick tech rundown here. You've got a 4-sided center hung with 6mm pixel spacing. There's 4 of them at 19 feet high by 23 feet high approximately. There's an upper ring that's about 112 feet around, a lower ring about 83 feet around. There's 360 fascia in here as well. There's some billboards outside. There's a ticket window display outside. So you've got quite a bit of technology that you can use to either entice fans to come in or to enhance the event experience. And you said that's where you kind of ramp up with the sports. Is that really used for sports? I believe it's on a hoist. You raise that and lower it depending on the event, so it's kind of flexible.
Yeah, the majority of the events that we use our center hung is definitely sporting events for monster trucks, Globetrotters, U.S. Gymnastics. It doesn't get used for concerts a lot. Again, concerts are bringing in their own equipment. The exterior boards are used 365, right? Our billboards, we have, like you mentioned, we have 4 billboards, 2 double-sided billboards, one on Interstate 35 heading south from us, and one on our facility. Those are promote events, our promoter sponsors, our building sponsors, some messaging on the box office, and we actually have one on the east side, on our Oak Street side. So a lot of those, the on-premise ones, are messaging and promotion of events. Again, those are 365. The LEDs inside, the fascias are used every event. I mean, we're again promoting events while we have people here messaging. We do utilize those all the time. Even on days we don't have an event like today. I think we have a couple meetings, so we're putting up sponsor messaging for them. Welcoming them to the facility, try and make it, give everybody their signage where we can, and welcome them to the building.
So additional events like that. You said meetings. So is it like a business could come in and say, we want to use an event space in the facility for meetings and stuff? Yeah,
and we have a private events team who's always looking to sell. Obviously, we do have several spaces that you can rent the facility from. You can, I'm sure you can do anything you want here. We're open to the public.
Okay.
We've done, I think, a couple wedding receptions. We've done alumni events. One of the events they're talking through right now is a donation event, right? So they're looking to do
like a fundraising event?
Fundraising. There you go. Yeah, thank you. It can be a large scale event. There's a lot of small spaces, just for business meetings if you want. We have some areas with more technology than others for whatever you may need, right? Whether it's online meeting or local meeting.
Just quite a range of events and a lot of flexibility within all those spaces to accommodate. That's awesome.
So you went from college and you said you never envisioned, being in an arena like this as part of your career. And now you're also a billboard owner, right? So now you got billboards on your premises as well. And even thinking about how it's changed maybe from when you started here, right? When it opened. And we were talking about this beforehand. I just got done being an intern at Daktronics and came down here for the grand opening when it happened in 2007 too. So I was down around seeing all that, and obviously the center hung was different because you mentioned the new displays installed in 2016. Were you part of that then? Because I know you said when you first came in, you were handed the displays essentially, right? But when did you start thinking about, all right, we need to swap those out and replace them, and then kind of how involved were you in that process?
I was heavily involved. I call myself the $1 million kid. And that was 2007, so I'm not that kid anymore. I'm the $1 million old guy. But I've been pushing for upgrading technology probably after a few years in, which probably didn't help my cause. But I think if it was 2016, we were, what was that, 7-8 years in, which I felt fortunate at the time to do it because we're not without that team using that 42 times a year. I didn't think we would get the upgrade. But I was involved with it. Obviously reached out to Daktronics. Again, I was handed Daktronics when I got here. And I'm very grateful for it. I mean, again, I don't have a lot to compare it to, I'll be honest. We've had Daktronics here when we purchased that in 2016. We would put the fascias in 2022, I think it was, and the billboards. We did our due diligence and had went out and put an RFP, but I know you guys are sitting in front of me, but you can't beat Daktronics. I mean, it's a staple for a reason.
We didn't pay you to say
no, you didn't.
Of your own free will right now.
It's a staple as the industry, right? I mean, you guys are 8 hours from here.
5.5 is what our drive
5.5. All right, you guys drove fast.
Google.
Yeah, good weather. Yep.
So I mean, again, I know he's sitting over there, so I don't want to look at it. But Tony Mulder, he's been there for I think he said 27 years.
Yeah.
I couldn't not do it. I mean, again, you guys are right there. It's a local, U.S. based company. If I need help, I call Tony. I mean, not just Tony. There's obviously a lot of other people, but
sure.
Your guys' the service department. You're whatever that position's called, your service agent or whatever. Those people are critical, and that might be the best selling people there. I mean, if I got a problem, I call them. If there's a problem with them, I call Tony. He's going to be down here and get it. He's going to fix it. He was out there. Whether it's good or bad to say, we rebranded from Sprint to T-Mobile in 2020, I think it was 2021. They put a new board, LED board on one side of our facility, on the east side, and it didn't quite line up right. It really wasn't a Daktronics issue. It was a change had been made.
Okay.
And that board had rotated. So something didn't line up quite right. Tony's out there on the lift. I come into work. He's out there on the lift, making the adjustments for us. It's millimeter adjustments, but he's out there making it because he wants it to be right. I mean, it really wasn't his obligation. But again, that's why we went with Daktronics. We did our due diligence. We looked at other vendors, but again, I wasn't giving them originally, but man, I'm glad you guys are here. So
Yeah, I'm sure it had a hard helmet on, right? Being OSHA certified.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, because we hear that a lot too, right? You don't just put up the display and leave because it's technology, and there's always going to be issues that come up. So it's a matter of what do you do when the issues come up, and having someone there to help you out with it. Right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, again, Daktronics is great, but like you said, it's the technology. It's most of it, even though it's standard, it's custom built, right? So we had our fair share of issues, but yeah, Daktronics was here. We call them, or they're here fixing issues. We had when our original 360 was installed, we had a couple issues and came down and made adjustments, changed equipment out, made it work right. Again, it was just always there. It's just always a consistent. Yeah, the service is critical, right? I mean, if I've heard of other facilities, obviously talked to other facilities who did not make that choice. And quite frankly, feel free to edit this out. Quite frankly, it wasn't the Daktronics wasn't the cheapest option, but man, they paid for it in the long run, right?
Yep.
Can't get the parts. Something goes down at the exact wrong time, on TV, and they can't fix it. There's no support there, and that's just a few years in them having that product. So again, it's just.
It looked great that first year, but
I'm sure it was. Yeah, I'm sure it was fantastic. But you pay for that in the long run when you don't go with the best, really.
Yeah, we're definitely going to keep that part in. That was great. So, but then thinking of, because you revamped the center hung too, essentially, right? When you were deciding what you wanted that to look like, was it? Do you go to the Daktronics website and go through the photo gallery? Like, how did you kind of know what you wanted it to look like?
So when we were looking at that, I mean, honestly, I kind of went to Tony and said, "Hey, what do you think?" We had our original board in there with the whole hoist, and there's a nest up there, right? The secondary steel is higher to be able to suck it up into that secondary steel and get it out of the way for concerts. Yep. And concerts are bread and butter around here. So my GM at the time was like, "You can't go wider than that. We're not going to win the arms race of the biggest scoreboard. We're just not. I mean, technology moves too fast. And again, we will not win that race. So we're trying to get the best we can with what we can do." So my GM at the time told me it can't impede on concerts. So we can't go outside of that steel structure.
Sure.
So that's a large part of why it's the size it is now. We also couldn't go down much further. We couldn't extend the height. We did a little bit, but we couldn't extend it much higher. Because again, we can't take away rigging points for a concert.
Yep.
If we put something in and it kept us from getting whoever it might be, Eric Church, anybody, doesn't matter. Pick a name. If they want to do a center stage and we lose that concert, it's a lot of money because we wanted to be a little bit bigger on our video board. So.
Yeah, so you went with the right design for your venue. It fit
absolutely.
Your venue for what you're trying to do to make sure you can still do all those events.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we got a lot of compliments on it too. I mean, still do to this day. And again, it's not with 2016 when we put that in. So we're about to the point where we can start looking at another center hung. But we still get a lot of great compliments on it. It works for our space very well. Again, we're doing Big 12 basketball. They just extended their contract out with us to 2031 for men's and women's basketball. Nice. So, it certainly does the job, and it looks great. We can provide the information we need on it for basketball. We thought all that out of. It's more of a 4x3 board, and obviously everything's 16x9. Well, you guys do everything abnormally. Let's be honest. You guys make it whatever size you want it to be and make it work. But we thought that out to make it 16x9 for video production to allow the GIP scoring elements. I mean, all that was obviously strategic. But it also works for all those other events. We can do 4x3 or we can do 16x9. So
and maybe that leads into how you're controlling it and producing those events. Like you said, you figured it out on the video production side. Do you have like a huge crew that you bring in? Is there full-time staff? Do you freelance for camera operators and things like that?
Yeah. So I mean, my full-time staff is what I believe at least pretty small. There's 4 of us in my entire department between the creative and the technical side. So when we do a larger show, when we do Big 12 or NCAA wrestling, that's all crewed out.
Okay.
We do have a local company. So we don't do this consistently. Throughout the year, we use a local company for crewing those. Again, I'll work with them on who we want, obviously what positions, and the event really tells us what they want. We'll work with the event, right? We'll tell them what we suggest, what they want, and we work with them. Yeah, so we crew out directors, TDs, CGs, camera operators. For Big 12, NCAA wrestling, we had a full crew, director, technical director, nice. CG, replay. We have 4 cameras. It's really is a full crew. It's 20 some people by the time it's all said and done, probably, plus the game entertainment side. So.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things you're familiar with, right? When you have these contracts, like you said, Big 12 for an example, you're out till a long time, so you're kind of familiar with that. Whenever you get like a request of someone to come on and put an event here, is it just kind of like you have a list of things to be like, all right, now I got to ask all these, so then I know if I have to go out and get more production staff, are we using the boards, like all these kind of questionnaire type things you come in with?
Yeah, yes, we do, absolutely. I mean, again, being the old guy now, most was locked in my head on what to ask, but the yeah, I mean, all those questions come up on, how a lot of them start internally, right? With our assistant general manager when he books the event of, hey, what are we looking at? It's a big event. If it's NCAA or Big 12, we know who to talk to. We get all that early, and it's pretty easy to figure out. NCAA or something like that might be a little more challenging because it changed from wrestling to basketball. Those needs.
Oh yeah.
The smaller events, the ones that you think would be easier, are typically the harder ones because they're trying to figure it out as they go along as well. So we kind of got to walk them through that process. Are you shooting 16 by 9? Are you shooting 4 by 3? Or a lot of time it's 16 by 9 just because that's what everyone's familiar with. That's what they're editing their videos to. Yep. How are you filling those gaps? Do you want to center that board? Do you want to have black bars above and below it, or fill that area? So there's a lot of steps to walk through what they want exactly. But yeah, those smaller events are typically the more challenging ones. So.
Okay. I mean, you're talking about the different uses of the display in 16 by 9. Is that what kind of plays into your decision making of looking at, here's these events and here's how we've kind of used some technology when you're looking for those newer upgrades? Like I think you said 22 was the ribbon that you added. Were you thinking of, okay, these type of events would use this, and if the center hung's out of the way, that extra signage would be nice? Or what kind of goes into that technology upgrade or staying up to date on that?
That's a great question. So I will say when they designed this facility, they did I think I mentioned before, they did a great job. They brought in all the right people. We didn't change a whole lot. We changed obviously the design of our center hung a little bit. The fascias, we really replaced what was there. Okay. We didn't want to change. We didn't want to kill any seats. We didn't want to make those fascias bigger. We didn't want to kill the seats. We didn't want to. What we had has worked really well for us. Again, we've talked through things. Being here 17 years, we've probably talked through every option there is out there. I've got denied a lot of things. But in all honesty, we did bring in a consultant to kind of review all of our. They did an audit for us.
Okay.
They reviewed it all, and they really came back saying the same thing. This is what we recommend. This is the pricing we recommend, which was honestly big for me because I've been asking this for a decade and kind of again figuring it out as I went along. So they kind of backed up everything I said. But again, they didn't make any recommendation changes on the fascias. We actually, one of the bigger things the largest discussion we probably had when we replaced the fascias was the lower fascia. It's about 50 feet long on the east and west side, center court. Flanking those are backlit ad panels. The original design was to pull those out and be able to put LED boards in them and extend those out. We had a long discussion on if we're going to take those out and make them all LED, which as a digital person I wanted to do. But as understanding our sponsorship situation and not being on TV for a whole bunch of NBA games or whatever, we decided to put backlit signage in there, give our sponsors a better deal for our sponsors, right?
Sure.
Get them more time, more eyes on them. Again, that was very strategic. Now that we're switching out to or added Big 12 until 2031 and getting whatever that number is, 30 some games out of that might change. Yeah. But I mean, again, we didn't make any large. It was designed right from the start. Yeah. And again, but you
thought through that, right? You looked at it strategically and said, okay, what should we do here? And looked at your options.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. The last thing we want to do is to make a change that doesn't make sense for our guests or our partners, or even though it looks cool, right? It'd be great. Add a big giant LED screen, to be able to put stats on for games might look great. But there's a lot of complications when you do that for the guests and for sponsors. So.
And I didn't even think about this until you were talking about, your sponsors and your partners. How is that like then? So you have some that are to the arena specifically, right? But then when you have all these other events come in, they have sponsors that come with them. Like, how does that? I have no idea if this is an example, but it's like, a Pepsi and a Coke head to head. Like, how is the sponsorship match up between like the two different, let's say competing sides, but the different areas?
I'm certain we've had that issue. I mean, it's my understanding of it, not seeing the contracts, is really is field to play. The bowl is field to play for or the event, right? If I'm not going to give. I don't think there's any competing sponsor for Big 12, but if a Big 12 comes in and had competing sponsors, it's really filled to play for them. We have our contractual times to be able to run our sponsors, but kind of once that event starts, it's theirs.
Because your sponsors are no matter the event, they're going to get some kind of exposure, right? Like that's
Okay. Yep. Yeah. And once you go outside the bowl, things change a little bit. You go to concourse TVs or the exterior signage. We really have rights on all that exterior signage, contractual rights with the partners, and the city plays into that, or our contract, I believe, with the city plays into what's allowed outside.
Okay.
So yeah, all that again, competing partners. Again, we've had the issue. It's really become a non-issue. So
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask about those outside displays and those billboards, and if that's just strictly upcoming events and whatever your sponsors are, or if there's additional revenue from selling sponsorships on those, or how that worked. But
the billboards are promoting our events and our partners only. Again, I think that's a contractual thing with the partners as well as the city.
Sure.
It goes back to 2007. Plus, I mean, also on the billboards, we had to doesn't deal with sponsors, but just on playback, we deal with MoDOT rules. Missouri Department of Transportation has limits on what we can display and what we can't display. So
motion, flashing images,
everything's a static 8-second minimum on those. It makes it pretty easy, I guess. So.
Yeah. And then there's also the one we mentioned. I don't know, we say ticket window, but there's like a long ribbon fascia kind of one as you come in the front. What was that? Is that kind of sponsors too, but also maybe wayfinding, or how do you use that board?
Yes, to all of it. I mean,
Nailed it.
You did. Great job. You should work for Daktronics. So when it was originally designed, it was again, I'm going to say 50 feet. I don't know the exact length. It went basically right over our box office. We extended that out to, I think it was close to 100 feet. The way to go from our doors on Grand Boulevard to about to where our Founders Club is. We'd use it for upcoming promotional events, right? Upcoming events, welcoming messages, our partners, some wayfindings in there as well. So whatever we can do to help that guest experience and our partners, whatever we can do to sell tickets as well.
Yeah.
We're using it. We're not selling it for. There's not other revenue opportunities like you mentioned on that, but it's however we can help the guests and our partners out. Really,
you're not doing one-offs on it. It's all part of an agreement you have with someone else.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you've probably been here for quite a few different events and seen the technology come together. Is there anything maybe that sticks out? You said you had one good memory, but is there any other memories that stick out of, okay, this event was awesome because of how we did this with our technology or whatever to enhance that experience, or just a great event that sticks out in general?
I mean, Big 12 always sticks out to me again because we've done it every year with the exception of one. We always try to improve upon what we do, whether it's back house for our guests or for our athletes, whether it's front house for our guests. We will often bring in, do different activations. One of the things, again, sorry, it's not Daktronics, but we're in LED walls. We did NCAA wrestling. We brought in LED walls for player entrances for the championships. We brought in additional lighting. Again, when we get to those sport events, that's really where we start to get the ability to use our technology and expand our technology however we can. And again, it's working with a great team that. We all think about that together, right? It's strategic. We sit down and talk through that. What can we do? What's it going to cost? Does it improve the guest or athlete or back house experience for artists or whatever? What can we do to? It's not necessarily technology, but what can we do to enhance everybody's experience here? So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, whenever I think of this arena and stuff down here, I always do think of the Big 12 tournaments and the March Madness when you're all out here too, and getting ready for all that kind of stuff has always been.
Yeah, it's a beast. This last March especially, like I said, we extended the Big 12 out, and we went right into. Actually, we started with 2 shows of Drake in March, went right into Big 12 basketball, and then right into NCAA wrestling, and then right into a couple more concerts. And our operations team, our housekeeping team, our maintenance team, everybody. I mean, they do a great job of keeping the building clean. I mean, it's one thing I don't think about. I mean, I sit in our operations department, but the amount of work that goes into just keeping all that clean and maintained. Yeah. Again, we're not talking technology there, but all that leads to it really. But they do a great job of keeping and we hear it all the time. They do a great job of keeping this facility ready to go for our guests and back house. So
Yeah. Is there anything that you could like lean to and say, I'm looking at this event or I look at this other event where you kind of pull ideas and say, hey, maybe we should try that for the next Big 12, or maybe we should try that when this next concert rolls in?
Like looking outside at other.
Yeah. If you check or compare with other venues, or you see something on TV when you're watching, you're like, oh, that looks kind of cool. Maybe we should try that.
Well, first of all, I never watch a sporting event anymore or a concert if I'm there. All the enjoyment's gone out of it. It really
It's
is.
numb right now?
It's work. Like I'll go to a game and I'll be looking around at the video board. Oh, that's cool what they did with the video board. Or looked like I was in Arizona and they put new lighting in. We're looking at new lighting, right? I'm like, oh, they put new lighting in. This is cool.
You know what score the game is, right?
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on here. It was quite unenjoyable almost. But yeah, I mean, I look at stuff all the time. With Big 12 basketball, we made LED tunnels back house that the players will go through.
Okay.
And I know there's been other conferences who've reached out to our vendor asking to do the same thing. So
Sure.
I think everybody's kind of looking at everybody else and see how they can continue to one up their game.
Yeah.
We called it idea hacking in the
Yeah.
past.
Right.
I need all the help I can get. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, we heard that from different operators and users of our displays when they get together, right? For universities and pro sports teams, and they all get together and they all say like, "Oh yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm going to take that idea." So it's a lot of creativity comes from. There's idea hacking. There was a couple other terms that I've heard for it, but
Yeah.
again,
Idea-hacking, idea-jacking.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other ones. I know we stuck with those. Those stuck for us. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if you look at our, I mean, honestly, like when we were kind of redesigned our look for Big 12 basketball this last year, we're responsible for creating a lot of that content, the scoring elements, the headshots and all that. I definitely look at idea, hijack, whatever you want to call it.
There you go.
Those designs and see what they've done and how that fits in, what we can do with it. So.
Yeah. Is there anything else about this venue that you really want people to know about, or any advice you give people if they're looking to, enhance their fan experience in the same way you guys have here?
No, I mean, we look at other venues. I mean, the best thing I've ever done is go and visit other venues. I mean, I got the opportunity one summer, several years ago, to go around and tour. I think it was six different venues one summer. It was the best opportunity I had. Again, not coming from an arena, trying to figure all that out as I went along. That was the best opportunity I had, was to go and go and tour venues and learn from them and see what they're doing, and then just like I said, we do whatever we can to enhance everybody's experience the best we can. Hopefully we hit the mark more than we don't, but it's a great job, great venue here. Nothing particular I guess I can think of.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say if you think of yourself now, and I know sometimes this is a corny question, but what would you tell yourself back in 2007, like advice-wise, that would probably help someone out?
You
got deep there. Sorry.
It did. I mean, you'll figure it out. I mean, it's get your help. I tried to probably do rely too much on myself again, because I just was trying to figure it out as I went along. One of my favorite stories I probably shouldn't tell is as the building's starting to come towards the end, we walked in the bowl with my GM and AGM at the time, and my GM looked up. I was like, "Oh, hey, they're putting the delay speakers in." Brian, you're supposed to kind of let me know about all this. I looked up, like, "Oh yeah, they're putting the delay speakers in." I had no idea what she was talking about. I had no clue.
Oh, yeah, finally.
Finally those delays are in. But again, I would ask for help, man. I mean, there's a lot of it's a lot of stuff, right? I mean, different venues are going to be run differently, obviously, but man, more help I had would have been better. I worked way too many hours, especially at those beginning events, the beginning of the year, the opening. There's a lot of people out there with knowledge that you can lean on, which I did not do. So
Okay. Yeah, no, I thought that was awesome how you said you even visited some of those other venues and that was beneficial towards you. And I think we're in the same boat here. It's like it's beneficial to us to be here and visit with you today and see your amazing venue. So thanks for taking the time to sit down with us.
Absolutely, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian.